Imagine a weapon so massive that it defies belief. A gun so big, its shells were heavier than a car. A cannon so powerful, it was meant to tear through fortresses like paper. This is the story of Heavy Gustav, largest gun ever built. This is the largest weapon the world has ever seen. A weapon so massive, it dwarfed even the tanks of its time. This is a human. This is the size of the ammo it fired. And this is Heavy Gustav, 1,350 tons of steel, a 32-meter barrel, a staggering 47-kilometer range. It took 4,000 workers just to set it up and another 120,000 soldiers to operate it. A monstrosity of war, commissioned by none other than Adolf Hitler himself. But unlike many of his absurd, over-ambitious projects, this one was real, and it was used in battle. Spring 1937. Hitler is obsessed with war. But there's one thing keeping him up at night: the Maginot Line. A seemingly impenetrable fortress spanning the French-German border, bristling with heavy guns, thick concrete walls, and underground bunkers. If Germany wants to break through, they need something bigger, something never seen before. So Hitler gives the order to Krupp Steel Works, the war machine of the Third Reich. The mission? Build the biggest gun in history, a cannon so powerful it could shatter the Maginot Line like glass. The project is top secret, and the weapon is given a simple code name: the Gustav device. Naming giant artillery pieces is a long-standing German tradition. Think Big Bertha or the Karl mortar. But Heavy Gustav? It would put them all to shame. By spring 1940, Hitler is itching to invade France. He wants his superweapon leading the charge. But there's just one problem: Heavy Gustav isn't ready. Frustrated, the Nazis ditch their original plan and bypass the Maginot Line entirely by invading France through Belgium's Ardennes forest. The colossal cannon is left behind. A year later, Heavy Gustav is finally complete. And it's unlike anything the world has ever seen. A railway gun that moves along twin sets of parallel tracks. 1,350 tons, 40 axles, 80 wheels, nearly 50 meters long, as tall as a 4-story building. A single shell weighs 7 tons, heavier than an elephant. And when it hits, it can punch through 6 meters of reinforced concrete like butter. Test shots confirm its incredible destructive power. Each blast leaves craters 32 meters deep, turning solid concrete into dust. But by the time it's ready, France has already fallen. The weapon designed to destroy the Maginot Line has no Maginot Line to destroy. Then, in 1942, Hitler finds a new target: Sevastopol, a Soviet fortress city on the Crimean Peninsula. The Nazis have already swept through vast stretches of the Soviet Union, but Sevastopol refuses to fall. It's the strongest fortress in the world, protected by over 100,000 Russian troops, 5-meter thick walls, and bunkers buried 30 meters underground. Hitler sees an opportunity. Heavy Gustav is finally going to war. Getting the weapon to the battlefield is an operation in itself. The cannon has to be disassembled and loaded onto 5 separate trains, 100 cars in total. Once in Crimea, soldiers lay 1,200 meters of railway track just to position it. But there's a problem. Heavy Gustav's barrel can't rotate. If they need to adjust their aim, 2 massive diesel locomotives have to carefully shift the entire gun along the tracks. To keep it hidden, soldiers build artificial hills and trenches for camouflage. But it also has to be invisible from above. Enter the Smoke Troop, a 500-man unit trained to cover the area in thick clouds of smoke at a moment's notice. 5,000 men, days of preparation, and finally, Heavy Gustav is ready to fire. On the 5th of June, 1942, 4:30 p.m., Soviet soldiers huddle behind their fortifications. They've survived relentless shelling before, But then they hear something new. A deep, earth-shaking rumble. A 7-ton shell is screaming toward them at over 700 meters per second. And then, nothing. The shot misses. It lands 120 meters away, shaking the ground but doing no real damage. The Germans reload. Another shell fires. Another missed this time by 150 meters. Again and again. The world's largest cannon fails to hit its mark. This is the official report from that day. Every shot fired. Every miss recorded. Out of 48 shells fired, only 3 are marked as hits. But when search teams investigate, they find no evidence that they actually struck their intended targets. The only confirmed hit? An underground ammunition depot, most likely a lucky shot. Despite the propaganda, Heavy Gustav is proving to be an epic disaster. Even before its first battle, some Nazi officers had doubts. The cannon's insane size and range made accuracy nearly impossible. The barrel wore out so quickly it became useless after just a handful of shots. And for all the effort put into it, Sevastopol eventually fell, but not because of Heavy Gustav. Did anyone dare tell Hitler that his miracle weapon was a complete failure? Or did he simply refuse to believe it? We may never know. But one thing is certain: Heavy Gustav wasn't just the biggest gun ever built. It was also one of the biggest wastes of time, money, and resources in military history. After its one and only battle, the massive gun was hauled back to Germany. Hitler himself attended a final demonstration. And when the war was lost, he ordered it destroyed to prevent it from falling into enemy hands. A pointless ending to a pointless weapon. And if you ever wondered what it would be like to fire a shell 15 miles across Crimea from a 100-foot-long G-barrel, well, now you know. In the end, Heavy Gustav stands as a symbol of excessive engineering marvel that was ultimately useless in battle. It reminds us that bigger isn't always better, and that sometimes the most ambitious projects can turn into the greatest failures. History is full of grand ideas that never lived up to their promise. And Heavy Gustav? It might just be the biggest one of them all.